lockdown against Lycan.
It kind of overlaps too much with the Clockwork and how they fit in as the initiator. And if they had an offlaner who could farm a bit more and provide that damage output, it would maybe work. But I think Viper, at that point, Viper's your really only DPS/carry. You have got 0 burst damage, so that to me is a big worry.
Do you think you give any thought to something like an anti-mage here if you're CDEC? It doesn't seem to fit aggressive, but it's so good against Darkseer, notably. I'm not sure. Probably not. It just doesn't seem like a good fit for the lineup.
Standard Jug is more likely what I'd expect from CDEC. They're just not a team who's going to experiment as much, and I don't know if Jug's the best pick here, but it's just like the kind of pick CDEC would normally go for.
Yeah.
Ember Spirit gets spanned out.
What else has aggressive been playing recently? A lot of
Drow. Lifestealer as well. Drow.
Yeah. That's true. That's a really good point. CDEC is one of the few teams that still runs the Lifestealer somewhat regularly, and they've actually run it in this qualifier.
No, not against Lycan, Queen of Pain, and Darkseer Surge. Just not a...
Oh, it's the Faceless Void.
Ah, that's a interesting pick.
I haven't seen that in a while.
So the old Void Ancient Apparition combo. Okay.
I think they were a little bit light on lockdown as well. So getting the combination of both having a really solid carry hero
Void's
and getting the
here,
Chronosphere. Yeah, this is a really
good
Void
against
pick.
Lycan, great against Darkseer, pretty good against Queen of Pain as well. They will take a Disruptor as their final choice for their second support.
I really like that. That's a good hero against Void as well.
It does make their, I think their ganking power in the early game a little bit weak. Disruptor plus Earthshaker, it's lots of lockdown, but it's not really heroes that they move that are going to move around and gank a whole lot. And I worry that that's going to let CDEC get away with
EP's lanes are just do nothing. Like, they're just sit in your lane and farm. Queen of Pain mid is not even going to be looking to rotate or roam. Like, you're going to gank a Darkseer lane? Not going to work. You can't really gank the Lycan's lane either, so EP's lanes look like they're just going to have their setup, they're going to farm, they're going to fight in the mid game.
Yeah. So is that when EP has to make it happen? You think 15 minutes plus is when we'll start seeing the split pushing and team fights break out? I'm having trouble gauging when Energy Pacemaker really hits that power curve when they want to strike while the iron's hot.
It depends how the laning stage goes. Like, their laning super passive, and if they have a decent lane stage where they just trade farm, then they can look to take towers, take objectives in the mid game around the time they get like maybe a Darkseer mech. But if the lane stage goes poorly, they're going to be playing catch up throughout the mid game and just building towards the late game, it feels like.
Well, with this draft, I am actually still with my prediction as CDEC is just looking really strong. I think that the lanes are going to be fairly stale for the first part, because I don't think either team will really want to try and push something. Unless, you know, obviously it's get baited out by the other team, but I think CDEC is going to do pretty well this game.
I think some of it will depend on how well XZ is able to level in the offlane. If he can find that timely level 6, then things may heat up sooner rather than later.
I want to see how things go with his double mango strat so far. That's what XZ's got picked up at the moment.
That's peculiar, actually.
Whoa.
Double mango clockwork.
You can force feed them to your allies.
True. True.
I don't
Eat
know
a tango.
what...
You look hungry, son.
Eat a mango.
I keep doing that. Eat a mango. Old habits die hard.
That is a first for me.
Yeah.
I remember just seeing an RT tweet, like, I'm pretty sure like 99% mango purchases have been useless. And I kind of thought about it, I'm like, yeah, I've never really seen a mango purchase and thought, man, that mango purchase was actually did anything.
Sometimes on a bristleback or timbersaw is like, yeah, you can just, you know, it's good to have it because you might just need that extra
Undying is the one hero that I feel like I've seen one or two. He just gets that last little bit of mana to get off the decay or the soul rip to find the kill. But that's kind of the only time I've thought to myself, the mango, wow!
Gotta get him with the mango.
It's on the clockwork.
He's gotta do it.
Yeah, he's doing it. Oh, so it's a Lycan mid here. All right, interesting lane setup from EP. Gonna leave the safe lane Queen of Pain again.
I like it better this way. Just the clockwork in the offlane is going to be able to bully the Lycan too much, contest the farm. It allows the Earthshaker to roam, because if you have a Disruptor plus Lycan dual lane, the clockwork is just going to really kind of bully them and get too much out of the lane. So many clockwork games this tournament we've seen Clock get huge amounts. But with that said, Clockwork is not even in the off lane, it's an aggro tri lane. So that was the reasoning behind EP laning the Clockwork, the Queen of Pain safe lane, but as far as the lane they get, Queen of Pain's also not going to have much fun.
This is a pretty scary tri-lane. Ancient Apparition, one of the classic heroes known as very potent in this kind of a situation with the Chilling Touch. Rubik as well with the Fade Bolt and the Telekinesis Disable. Even Void, not that bad in this kind of a scenario. Has an initiation tool with the Time Walk, can disengage, and those Lucky Bashes can always come out and sometimes set up a kill. So I like this play to ensure that the Clockwork at the very least gets some solid levels here, and he'll also find some farm along the way.
Yeah. So, we'll see. I'm not sure what EP do to respond. They brought the Earthshaker already down bottom lane. His fissure is going to be needed to save Queen of Pain, although it looks Queen of Pain could have blinked out regardless, and they're going to turn this one around. The AA's stuck. They're not going for the kill. They need to save the Disruptor. Time walk forward. Aggressive commits for the first blood. He looks like he may pay for this with his life. The tower shot's not enough, and Queen of Pain. Just level 1 blink, unfortunately could not commit to the AA kill.
Yeah, very nice for CDEC. A great start. Aggressive will use a salve. It does get knocked off, but
Gets most of the regen
for them.
So.
Yeah, really not too bad. And with the first blood like that, what are you thinking item-wise here for Aggressive? Is this a Midas kind of a game, do you think, or just go straight into the...
Maybe like a late Midas, but for an aggro tri-lane, you want items that you can fight with. You want fast treads, you want to get your boots as possible, maybe like an Orb of Venom, but I think just the treads rush and a magic stick as well. If you're in a tri-lane versus tri-lane, you want a magic stick, so...
Yeah, definitely.
I could see him getting like a 12 to 15 minute Midas if he felt like they're going to play towards the late game. And there we go. He gets boots and a magic stick, probably upgrades the treads, may go treads and then Midas, but... he wants to be able to contest and fight this.
Darkseer in a lot of trouble. He's trying to cut the wave. Viper gets a lucky haste rune at the 2-minute mark, and normally Darkseer could just surge away from a situation like this, but not gonna happen. Bad luck for him. And CDEC now 2-1 is...
Yeah. Nice move by Shiki too, because normally Viper would not even bother going for a rune, but they had vision of the rune, so he sees a haste and says, "Well, that's a free kill for me." Yeah. So
it's really 2-0. The Ancient Apparition, of course, was an intentional suicide there for a free trip back to the well. It threw me off for a second. I was trying to remember when EP picked up a kill, but it was Roche.
So we'll see CDEC keep committing to this aggro trial, and Lycan is farming well in the mid lane against Viper, although he's also rotated into the jungle a bit, so kind of mixing things up between lane against Viper and taking some jungle farm.
They will stay committed to the tri-lane for now. One drawback is Faceless Void having a slower timing on that level 6 in the Chronosphere, but well worth it if they can secure him the kind of free farm he's getting here.
And Queen of Pain is still level 2, is getting very little experience-wise.
Exactly. And very little farm-wise as well. She's now 8-2. Less than ideal for your safe lane farmer. And we saw last game how much stock they put in, making sure she got that early farm so she could get the Aghanim's about as quickly as possible. In this game, that timing will not be the same.
Yeah, so for EP, we kind of talked about how their lanes are pretty static. They can't really do too much. They're going to have to just commit to this offensive trial. The Earthshaker is not even really able to roam around unless he wants to just sack the bottom lane. So, and even if he does rotate, he's not going to get a kill on the Viper with Lycan there, unless Viper overcommits and Lycan hits level 6. Top lane, unlikely to find a kill on the Clockwork. You can just use the Cogs pushback.
Well, he's low on mana. Maybe it's time to eat one of those mangoes.
Oh man! Is he gonna? What's he gonna do? Maybe get a bottle here.
Well, the double mango against Darkseer gives you that extra bout of passive regen that actually makes things a bit easier against the Ion Shell. We didn't mention that, but there is more to the mango than just the mana, Parker. It's a complex fruit.
Oh, XZ's forced back to base. Imagine if he had like a bottle instead of those mangoes.
That's a good point. I can't argue with that one.
Go get runes. You know, your Viper doesn't need runes, so the top rune is open for the taking. But they're going to switch up their lanes. It looks like they're going to rotate the Void top, say, we've won the laning stage. Let's now get our farm on.
And this is where, when I mentioned the Midas earlier, I was thinking they could do a rotation like this. And he will at least go for the treads first, but we'll see where his item build goes from there. Looks like they'll put some stock into zoning out the Darkseer, and the byproduct of this will be that the Queen of Pain can now catch up. She's even on CS with the Faceless Void, and will probably continue to be as she's now left completely alone.
Yeah, so we'll see where Clockwork heads. He's not level 6, so he can't really just start roaming around. He needs to get some more... That's the rough thing. Clockwork ideally would want to hit level 6 before he went back to base. I guess he didn't feel safe, but... Once he's level 6, he can roam around and not have to go straight towards that offlane.
He has gone for a slightly different build here, though. We've seen the Battery Salt primary more often than not, and here he's been maxing the Rocket Flare to ensure some extra farm and have that extra global harass.
All right, well, we're now looking for that level 6. Aggressive at top, not a fun lane against the Darkseer. The double Iron Shell enough there, and they're going to go for a kill on mid. Lycan pop the ultimate. Viper slowing things down a little bit with that Corrosive Skin, and a great Cogs from XZ is not going to be enough to save his teammate.
Yeah.
Good kill, good gank. That's an important one as well on the Viper.
Meanwhile, in the top lane, Darkseer cutting the wave. Salve used by Aggressive. They'll have the Chilling Touch or do a good bit of damage here, but the Surge, level 2, just a bit too much, and the Void can't close the gap. Those Power Treads, not what they used to be, and Can't quite get to the Darkseer. So 2-2. EP showing a sign of life here. This Lycan really getting some good farm.
Yeah, Lycan's doing well. Treads, Bottle, and looks like just a straight Vlads, I imagine. I'm not sure. Every now and then you see the Medallion, but Medallion's becoming less and less a pickup for the Lycan himself because he has to make room for other items so fast that he ends up selling it and just helps secure one Roshan.
Although, who else would grab the Medallion here? They don't really have another great Medallion carrier, to be honest.
I guess if he's not getting it, no one is. So if you're trying to take Roshan, you have to do so in a position where you've got a big advantage and you can take it without the Medallion.
Yeah.
We saw last game teams opting not to get Medallion, but that was where you had a clear, obvious purchaser for it.
I think this is a game where he may want to grab it. CDEC have just a really solid team around the Roche pit. Just the nature of the AA and Void together can really punish the Lycan if he gets scattered out in the Roche pit. And you see that Rocket Flare maxed out. I think that's a sign that they want to have that scouting tool so they can keep eyes on the Lycanthrope. Of course, you get more damage, but also that lower cooldown.
Not Chicken going to now rotate himself towards the safe lane. They open up the mid lane for Disruptor, which just gives Disruptor some farm, some XP, but Radiant support's both looking very starved for levels, and well, I guess it's a similar story with the CDEC side as Rubik level 3, but here we go. Disruptor he's gonna be the one taking over the mid lane.
Get some much needed experience here. Still no point in Kinetic Field. He'll grab it at level 4. Going for that slightly more aggressive build with the early point in Thunder Strike.
Uh-oh, that's a dead looking Darkseer.
Yep, Surge not going to save you from the cogs. There is a hook shot here. He pump fakes it. We'll just try to cut off the retreat path. And Darkseer, can he make it out here? It's not looking so good. There we go. Hook shot will connect, and
they made that gank a lot harder than it needed to be. He wanted to save the hook shot, it looked like. Just run in with the battery assault cogs, but
yeah, a little bit greedy there. But
shouldn't have let the Darkseer flog him, because that was almost a blind hook shot in the end.
Yeah. Lycan, meanwhile, split pushing in the bottom lane, does at least half damage to the tower, forces out the glyph, and seems like CDEC will react. Q pressuring as much as he can. It is Shiki on the Viper that comes down. Viper strike at the ready, and that'll be enough for the Lycan to back off.
Good pressure though. He forced a Viper TP rotation and opens up the mid lane for some farm and just pressure to come out of the Queen of Pain Disruptor. And Lycan says, well, I just did good amount of damage to your T1 tower. I can rotate into the jungle. Actually, going to TP. What are they looking to do here? Maybe go for a kill, not an easy one to find or get on aggressive. But I think they're going to try smoke up and find something.
Queen of Pain, 4 XP away from the ultimate, and that is definitely going to be a time when Fan wants to start moving around. Much different playstyle in the Queen of Pain this go around. 0, 2, and 0 still been very quiet, but I think he'll be a lot more active here as he can't just sit back and get all that yummy safe lane farm. But here's the smoke rotation from EP.
Super aggressive, because Lycan, like CDEC just see him rotating in the jungle. They're expecting Lycan to be jungling right now. This is a rotation that you just do not expect if you're CDEC.
Oh.
But they seem somewhat wary of it. The Iron Shell Wolf.
Yeah, we didn't mention that, but it's
man. That's
very irritating. Yes. Not fun. Well, the smoke doesn't do a hell of a lot, though. They make it to the top lane. They haven't been revealed in the rotation, so that's the one thing that they've got going on. Aggressive poking forward, but seems a bit skeptical that trickery could be afoot as there's so many heroes missing off the map.
I think if they're not getting this top tier 1 tower, the Lycan's TP was actually a bad idea and a big waste of time. He could be farming the bottom Radiant jungle and then pressuring the tier 1 bottom tower. The bottom lane is empty. This could be Lycan taking that tier 1 tower after farming in the jungle. He could be being a lot more efficient, but he will get the top tier 1, so it does end up being a trade-off where he's not farming as much as he could in his jungle and pressuring bottom lane, but he finds a tower elsewhere.
Yeah, he will indeed go for that Vlad's first item here, it looks like, with that Ring of Regen picked up. How close is the Ancient Apparition to his level 6? I feel like when that happens, CDEC will have a much easier time repelling these pushes, and it looks like this wave will be what he needs to get that Ice Blast.
Okay, so Chronosphere and Ice Blast online. Let's see if they can find kills. It's hard. A lot of it, I mean, mostly the Lycan, very tanky and hard to bring down with just those 2 spells.
It's more that now they have a tool to start repelling pushes without having to commit somebody into the tower. So that little push up top probably still would have happened, but at least CDEC can do something about it rather than just watching their tower fall.
Fans been playing catch up on Queen of Pain, and that's to be very cautious now of that initiation duo.
Yep, hits level 7. Earthshaker still only 4. Poorest in the game, sharing his caring here as him and Darkseer clear out some mud golems. Oh, smoke from CDEC. XZ leading the charge, has the hook shot at the ready. Can't quite get the vision that he needs, though. The smoke will get broken. He knows there's somebody nearby. Rocket thinking someone could be farming at the hard camp. He connects. Oh, my. Power cogs come out, and yep, I think this Earthshaker going to be in a world of hurt. That should be enough for a shatter.
Yeah, just barely.
Yep. Meanwhile, on the other side of it, they will almost bring down the Queen of Pain. She'll blink back. Darkseer's nearby. Just a 1-0 so far. Quick pick on the support. So not a very high-value target.
Chase, and they want to fight this, but Lycan was really far away when he popped that ult. He actually invised up as well.
Well, this is interesting. Moving behind the tower. I don't know how much he'll get out of it, though. Meanwhile, Aggressive just split pushing in the top lane. Picks up the Mask of Madness now. Great early combative build for the Void, and you were talking about it's hard to find kills with just Chronosphere and the Ancient Apparition ulti, but with the Mask of Madness in there, it becomes a possibility.
Now Lycan going to make his way into Roshan with an Invis rune. The Rocket Flare was used bottom, so not going to be scouting out Roshan anytime soon, and Clockwork is in the neighborhood, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to prevent this, unless the next Rocket Flare goes straight into the Roche Pit, but I think he's going to just be using it in lane. This is not a movement. Yeah, he's not expecting Roshan to be happening right now.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a risk from Old Chicken. 12 minutes is the timing window when you want to start being suspicious of the Lycan, but
it's hard to read.
Contest,
you know he could very well just be in the jungle farming Ancients.
And they don't have any wards in the enemy jungle either, so that huge area of the map is completely dark for the Dire side.
He did just fire 3 Rocket Flares in a row bottom lane, which could have scattered that Roche.
Well, they'll get a kill on the Darkseer mid. Easy pick off there. It will be Garda that gets credit for that one as Old Chicken picks up the Aegis of the Immortal. XZ. Now Rocket Flare comes out a little bit late there. Aggressive walks in, and the kinetic field not quite enough. Gets glimpsed back on the other side of it now. Hook shot onto Old Chicken. Power cogs will push him to the low ground perhaps. No, he's going to hang on to them for now. Now the cogs come out. Nowhere for the Old Chicken to go, but Clockwork will still fall. Aggressive. Force the time walk to the low ground, and the trade will be Darkseer for Clockwork across this extended skirmish.
Unfortunately, couldn't quite get the Void in the kinetic field and tried to glimpse him back in, but by then missed it into the kinetic field and got out of the Static Storm, but very close to killing off the Void as well. Yeah, that could have been a lot worse for CDEC. And EP holding their own. This Lycan's getting a lot of steam right now.
13-minute mech out on the Viper.
This is going to give CDEC some good team fight. They're going to throw the Ice Blast, kind of he mentions, a good anti-pushing tool, and Old Chicken, while he has an Aegis, is probably going to want to back off fairly soon, at least wait for some heals.
It at least makes the Lycan think twice while he has the debuff on, to be susceptible of burst and just have a shatter come out. Shiki doing a lot of damage to him here.
Yeah, I don't think, Old Chicken just got this Aegis. He doesn't want to throw it away for nothing. Even if he gets that tier 1 tower, it's unlikely to be worthwhile for just the Aegis. But he'll farm up the Ancients, and elsewhere, Aggressive still getting his farm onto the Void. As you mentioned, the Mask of Madness. It looks like he's going to go into a BKB after this.
Okay.
Wants a solution to the Disruptor especially, but there's a lot of just control, like where if he time walks in with a Chronosphere and doesn't catch a Disruptor, you're getting glimpsed out. Earthshaker can fissure you. There's a lot of annoying spells this game.
And here we go. Speak of the devil. Whoa! Time walk. That'll be a whiffed Sonic Wave. Wouldn't have been enough for the kill. They'll need a few more art attacks off after that, but without an Aghanim's upgrade, that's a long cooldown on that big ulti, and CDEC can feel a little more safe for the next 2 minutes at least. But yeah, you made a great point about the Fissure Earthshaker, one of the classic kind of pseudo counter picks against the Faceless Void, because he has so much reach on that Fissure. Often outside of the Chrono, can still make Void's life very difficult.
Yeah, Earthshaker going to pick up Arcane Boots here, so not going to see a timely Blink Dagger this game. But possibly just valuing having some extra mana for his team.
Bottom lane, Disruptor, hook shot, point blank, connects, power cogs come out, and that's an easy kill on the Disruptor. He uses the Static Storm kinetic field, sort of tries to set it up for the Earthshaker, does good damage, but not quite enough. Totem stolen here by Q, less than ideal, but Ice Blast, it will clip him. That'll be enough to force a shatter. Awkward rotations here from EP Parker. It does make a little bit of space for Old Chicken to pressure the tier 1 tower mid, but it comes at a big cost.
Yeah, especially Earthshaker just running into 3 heroes on his own.
He didn't even have an Echo Slam either. It looked like he was setting up for an Echo Fissure, but that wasn't even an option.
Yeah. I do like that he had precasted Totem so Rubik couldn't still Fissure, but
Yeah.
he just runs it in feet, so he kind of makes up for that nice little play. He just used totem earlier at top. But
Yeah, there's an odd combination of smart plays and lackluster plays here. Lycan gets the last hit on the tower. Will channel the ulti form. Goes in onto Q. Mech used by Shiki. Telekinesis not going to be there. Rubik will fall, and now Shiki in a bit of trouble. Old Chicken has to go a bit deep for it, and he will back out. Now the Void's here. Chronosphere comes out. Old Chicken gets caught. It's on 2. That'll be the end of the Aegis of the Immortal. The Darkseer falls as collateral damage also. Now the Disruptor on his way in, but he doesn't have the Static Storm. Still on cooldown from before. Old Chicken comes back to life. Gets Viper struck. Aggressive just barely lives. The Old Chicken, will he fall? Yes, he will. Aggressive gets glimpsed back, so a 1-for-1 trade on that one. Echo Slam, it just tickles. Earthshaker will go down, and now Clockwork chasing down the Disruptor, but it's the Queen of Pain. She wants the party too. Maybe they can turn it around on the Clockwork. Cold Feet on the Quap. She will be able to make it out.
Blocks.
Oh my, the Wolves. XZ will end up going down. A chaotic fight here in the mid. Garter will fall as well, it looks like. No follow-up damage to force shatters on these two heroes. And in the end, feels like kind of a break-even trade. I'm not sure who really won that one.
Both carries end up dying. The Viper survives. The Queen of Pain survives. Felt like a pretty even-ish exchange. 3 for 4 in favor of EP.
Okay, so they get a minor edge.
Yes. They do lose Lycan, who was one of their top farmed heroes, which is where it wasn't as big a gold gain as they would have liked.
Yeah. And they also lost the Aegis. That's the other thing to remember. Yeah. EP did have a better exchange in the end, but they burned through the Aegis.
The Aegis was about to expire, but you had that Aegis and you're thinking, okay, I'll die and then be able to escape, but couldn't manage to do so. Nice time for the Disruptor shop. He was the one who kind of came in, brought back the Void, allowed them to kill off the Faceless Void.
I also think that fight would have been a lot different if the Disruptor didn't waste his ultimate in that little skirmish in the Radiant jungle right before that. He didn't have a Static Storm available, and that extra little bit of damage and silence could have been enough to tip the scales and make that a very victorious fight for the Radiant.
The Sonic Wave is maybe even on cooldown at the start of the fight as well from top. So...
Yep.
A couple key ultis missing from EP, and they still win the fight. That's the good news for them. That's what the Aegis kind of allows them to do, and probably feeling confident they can maybe 5-man some more, but going to be a little bit careful against the Chrono Ice Blast. Chrono coming up fairly soon.
Looks like Clockwork going for a Blade Mail here. Good item against the Disruptor once you put that Static Storm down. No way to stop the damage from coming out. Same with the Ion Shell. A lot of abilities like that in this game. Also just gives him some nice survivability. Aggressive, in a little bit of trouble here, but will make it out of the Static Storm. Kinetic Field, no, the Glimpse gets him back in just on the side of it. Darkseer will even commit a wall and a Sonic Wave used to make sure that Void does not escape. That's 3 ultimates for the Faceless Void.
It's kind of awkward way for them to be ganking at Show. Shiki going to go back for a Midas. Disruptor's actually missed that Static Storm Connect Field a few times. I think he should just be using the Thunderstrike into a Glimpse, because if Void time walks out, you have vision and you just glimpse him back in.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's trying to be so fancy and start with the Static Storm Kinetic Field, which he's now missed like 2-3 times in a row.
And it really does feel like a key ultimate for their team fight.
Well, the thing is, if you don't even need the ulti to kill the Void there, I don't think. You Thunderstrike him, he time walks out, you glimpse him back in, and okay, he's got no time walk. Yeah. He's completely trapped. You can Kinetic Field.
I guess at that point, what he could do is just pop the Chrono and then walk away that way.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually.
So you do sort of need the Static Storm, perhaps. But you could also make the case just forcing out a Chronosphere is a victory in and of itself. XZ jumps in on the Darkseer, but whoa, how did he get on the other side of the cogs? Oh, he does have a Force Staff, okay. And there you go, Glimpse on Aggressive, that'll buy him some time, but he gets a bash that locks down the Darkseer, gives him the extra lick of damage he needs. They may continue to pursue for the Disruptor. They know the Glimpse is on cooldown. Time walk across the cliff. First hit bash. Disruptor, you're in some trouble. He turns, and that's enough for the Ice Blast to connect. Kinetic Field will buy him that little bit of space he needs. Rocket Flare, I don't think it's enough to force the Shatter. But Void has another time walk. A close call, but a 2-for-0 across this exchange. Now the Old Chicken, he wants a piece of the action here. Time walk up in about 5 seconds. I think Aggressive is okay here. Viper on his way in. Power Cogs come out to try to push Old Chicken away. Cold Feet as well. Mech used. The Old Chicken may die to DOTs. He's on the run. Aggressive just barely lives, as will the Lycan. So it will indeed be just that 2-for-0 exchange as it started, with CDEC finding the advantage.
Okay. EP just need to be... they seem to just be panicking in some of these situations where like they just don't need like the Disruptor running in there to help the Darkseer. I do really like the item progression from EP. They've gone rushed to full staff on both Darkseer and Disruptor. Great against all of these CDEC heroes.
Yeah.
Be it getting away from the Viper DOTs, getting out of a Clockwork Cogs, getting away from a Faceless Void who's right-clicking you. Even if you can't full stuff out of a Chrono, it's still a very good positioning tool. So definitely a value item to have 2 4-staffs already before 20 minutes was, I mean, that's going to, those are items which also transition great into the late game.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Opportunity cost for the Darkseer is he could have a mech now, so they are lacking on that, but 4-staff did make a big difference in that last fight. I hadn't even realized he had completed it, so now picks up an Ogre Club, so maybe just a BKB on the way for the Darkseer.
Seems to be the case.
An interesting item trajectory. Second item BKB is actually not so common on little ish.
Yeah,
Could it be something different, like a halberd or something? I feel like, I mean, what does the BKB really offer the Darkseer here? It doesn't save you from Chrono, doesn't save you from Viper Strike, doesn't save you from Cogs.
It blocks some of the damage at least, so
yeah.
I guess he's just worried about dying to these things, like the damage over time, and I mean, the void. A lot of the void damage is actually magic damage we hit from his bashes and all that. But it's mostly just worried about some of the lockdown, the initiation, the ruby, like telekinesis, ice blast, clockwork, just his nuke damage coming out.
Yeah. Well, all this while we've seen this skirmishing around the map. Queen of Pain has been a bit quiet, and she did manage to pick up that Aghanim Scepter. Had it a few minutes ago, so now she can have Sonic Waves aplenty. Seems to be just the style that EP really likes. This game I don't think is an obvious Aghanim's game, though it is still decent. He seems to just really like this, get the Aghanims as soon as possible, and then start to get as aggressive as possible. And you see EP now starting to 5-man kind of off the back of that.
I think with a good start, may have considered an Orchid just to lock down the Void, but Void's already going to have a BKB too quickly.
Yeah, and there it is, Speak of the Devil. So, sieging at the tier 2 up top begins. Smoke from CDEC. They certainly want to contest this one. Just looking for the right angle to initiate. Aggressive pops the Mask of Madness preemptively. In comes the Chrono. Static Storm Kinetic Field is there, but BKB gets used. Old Chicken goes down straight away. Now they'll try to go for the Darkseer. Hook shot off to the side. They'll turn, and so far, just a 1-0.
It's the Lycan, though, and without the Lycan, they can't really fight. Void could have just time walked into 3 heroes. Not afraid of too much here. Darkseer looks for the vacuum wall, doesn't really catch up much. Great vision, Sonic Wave. Blows up the CDEC
but stolen by Rubik. It goes right back the other way. Now EP in a huge amount of trouble. A lot of low health heroes. CDEC just trying to clean house, and it's the Faceless Void low on health. He won't be able to pursue down the Darkseer. Him and the Queen of Pain will live, but oh my, the Grand Magus making a great turnaround play there with the quick steal on the Sonic Wave.
That was nice. Earthshaker had such a good finish of that fight, but still, yeah, the Rubik really, the big playmaker in the end there. And EP just unable to save the Lycan in the Chronosphere. They can't really do too much because of the BKB pickup. With a BKB Chrono and an Ice Blast, it's a guaranteed kill on Lycan, and from there, it's really hard to take any subsequent fight.
And that's part of the reason why I think prioritizing a mech on someone like the Darkseer, if no one else, is valuable there, because if he's not caught outside of the Chrono, you can try to buy the Lycan some time. I don't think it would have made a difference there, but in certain situations, it can be the maker to break it.
I had to get in before the Ice Blast, but you kind of, the Chrono normally sets up the Ice Blast, so Chrono happens, you just mech as early as possible. So.
Yeah, that's true.
It's doable, but it's not something super reliable. I think the Lycan needs to maybe tank up a bit more. He's going to probably go for a BKB next, which gives him a bit of HP. And once he finishes it, okay, it's Necro 3 on the Courier.
And Midas on Ancient Apparition, 24 minutes in. Not the ideal timing, but still within acceptable parameters here. And we'll begin the quest for that Aghanim Scepter. So what does Void look for after the BKB? Obviously transitions into damage, but maybe we'll hold that thought as Void picks up the Invisibility Rune. Okay, nothing's going to break out.
I mean, damage. Maelstrom is always nice because it gives you outpush as well. Seen some Voids, like TC used to go for like even a Battle Fury still is a possibility, but
the Maelstrom is a great way to give you some extra anti-push, just to try to clear out some of the Wolves, the Necro units, and just do some AoE damage that way.
And then an upgrade into Mjolnir, which gives you more attack speed, so I think it's kind of the most natural progression from here for the Void.
It would also be nice to have the static charge buff for someone like the Clockwork, who's been hook-shotting in very aggressively, and he already has the Blade Mail, but just some extra kind of return damage for when he will inevitably take some of those right clicks.
And poor Clockwork struggling to get too much down the fight. Like, he got a nice hook shot off on the supports that fight, but Disruptor just 4-staffs out, and Clockwork ended up being kind of a non-factor that last fight, which is...
Yeah, 4-staff in, or pardon me, Time Walk in right onto the Earthshaker. He'll die to the wrath of the Ancient Apparition from an Ice Blast coming from downtown.
Has to be a bit careful about going for kills like that, because that's his second BKB usage already, and it's not really a kill which helps you transition into an objective. Maybe you go for a Roshan with Earthshaker dead. That's a risky play.
Has he respond? Well, I think most certainly here. Yeah, 25 minutes in.
But I don't see that being what CDEC aren't really going to look for Roshan. So it seems like a bad usage of your a BKB charge just to kill off the Earthshaker there.
I would agree.
I guess you're slowing down his Blink Dagger, but...
Well, speaking of BKBs, now Viper has his completed. So that Hand of Midas starting to pay some dividends here. It'll help tank him up. Seems like this Disruptor has been a really valuable pick for EP, and even though he hasn't played it quite perfectly with a few missed static storms, as we pointed out, just the nature of the glimpse and the kinetic field has really been making things a lot more difficult for CDEC in these team fights.
Oh yeah.
Adding that layer of chaos that EP really seems to thrive on.
It'll be interesting if the Disruptor can keep it up. Maybe they even start allocating some farm towards an Ag Scepter so they can try and catch the Void before the BKB and the Static Storm, but
yeah,
not something necessarily easy or reliable. I think the Darkseid really needs a blink as well. He's gone for like the 4-star BKB type build, but I feel like the Blink Dagger initiation is going to be key here if you want to try and be the ones getting the jump on CDEC.
Yeah.
Especially with Earthshaker not having a blink of his own.
CDEC, though, feeling a lot more comfortable at this stage of the game, getting aggressive with yet another smoke rotation. Moving through the Radiant jungle, they won't find anyone, and their smoke will expire right under a Radiant ward, so I don't think they'll find too much out of this.
Looks like they're just going to kind of bully away EP from maybe even this tier 2 tower, but EP in a good position to counter push top lane. Haven't got Lycan up there, but it's still at least enough pressure that someone's going to have to TP back, and that's going to be the Viper, so CDEC's push not going to happen, and I think for now EP are going to try and use split push, try and create enough space for Lycan to try and sneak into Roshan or something. He picks up Boots of Travel. I think Lycan picks up Boots of Travel. Whoa, Viper actually BKB'd.
That is just a misclick, I think.
For the Boots of Travel? Oh, the BKB?
No, the BKB. Yeah, that's...
I think he dodged the glimpse with it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I was worried that he was getting glimpsed back and getting killed off.
Oh, you're right, actually. Okay,
but,
that was the 10-second charge, too.
Yes.
So. But the BOTs on Lycan. All right.
Two things from this for me. It's one, you can split push a lot more effectively, and also try sneak Roshan. You send wolves into the Roche pit, you can Boots of Travel in, summon your Necrobooks, and bring down Roshan.
Oh, that's a really good point, actually.
Without having to like make your way past wards and just try and find an opening to do so, because you can just instantly teleport there.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. I think split pushing will be the name of the game for EP. It seems like once they get into these 5-man skirmishes, it's just too easy for CDEC to defend with the Chronosphere and Ice Blast. But if they can do a 4+1 type strategy here, BOTs can be quite potent. Ooh, going for the Queen of Pain, aggressive. As a Chronosphere, he will deploy it. Ice Blast as well, and a couple of ultis used, but it will yield a kill on one of the cores.
Yeah, hard for Van to get away from that. Unless he has that extra blink 4-star of his own, but he's not going to do that.
Well, Void will now pick up Gloves of Haste. Looks like Maelstrom will be his next stop-off. Fairly standard, nothing too surprising about that.
Yeah, so the split push going to now make its way towards bottom lane, so wherever CDEC go, EP will look to head towards the other side of the map and just start pushing things out. If CDEC rotate bottom to defend, then we'll see Old Chicken probably just TPing top. He's near the Roshan pit, but I think he's just trying to grab a rune here, and I'd be surprised if he made his way into Roche, but maybe he tries to risk it again.
He may just back out, eat the Invis in an area that he thinks is fogged, and then rotate in towards the Roche pit. That could be an option.
He's being pinged out. Was there a dire sentry ward there with the Observer? Yeah, they saw him with the sentry ward, so they know he just oh no, he didn't even
he just walked in. Clockwork scouts it out straight away with the rocket flare.
He's still committing to it. They want to fight around the Darkseid Vacuum Wall, I guess.
They know the Chronosphere is on cooldown. That's the key thing here. He used it to kill the Queen of Pain, but how long until it comes up? 40 seconds? It's still a little while. Aggressive needs to be very careful here. He'll go right into the pit. Wants to duke it out with Old Chicken. Pops the BKB, but it's a little bit premature. Garter looks like he'll be the first to go down. Shiki taking a lot of damage. Uses his BKB. Sonic Wave from the Queen of Pain. Cuts right through it. Gets him low, but the Viper's still alive. Static Storm used on aggressive, but it's not enough damage. He will time walk away. They've lost their Earthshaker, and now they're Lycan. Somehow it's turned into a disastrous fight for the Radiant side as Shiki barely lives. Limps away and takes a positive earn charge. A little bit of lag in the middle of that fight, and I'm not sure exactly what happened to the Lycan. It seemed like he was in good shape, but...
He just got right-clicked down by Viper for the most part.
Yeah.
Got locked in place by like clockwork stuns, by telekinesis, and even an ulti form just got brought down too quickly.
Yeah, Shiki almost died there. If the Sonic Wave could have just been followed up by a few more auto attacks, that could have been a completely different fight. But now Roshan goes away. The Dire stolen fissure from the Rubik. Queen of Pain throws out another ultimate with that short cooldown, but a lot of low health heroes here on EP. It's CDEC that want to continue to pursue. The Ice Blast will be off the mark. And, well, okay, connects on the Earthshaker, but not the target that they wanted. Oh, mama, it's a whipped Chronosphere for Aggressive. That's not ideal.
Not ideal. Something they can look to fight around maybe, but it's still 90 seconds. Not like a ridiculously Ravage-like.
It is level 3, yeah, so could be worse.
Yeah. But,
even seemed weird just to deploy it for the Earthshaker there, though, of all heroes.
I think the CDEC know they're the ones in control. They can just take whatever pickoffs come to them and then use it to take a tower hero there, or just they're just out farming their opponents. They're going to go well into the late game. Void going to be a fantastic way of dealing with both Queen of Pain and Lycan, locking them in place. The AA with a Midas is going to scale well into the late game, can farm up an Ag Scepter with this. So I think all across the board, CDEC just feel very confident. They've got 2 Midases, in fact. The Viper also having one, so they've got the superior late game, without a doubt.
Yeah. Okay. Ice Blast, and thrown in the mid lane. Disruptor, he's not getting an Ags anytime soon this game, Parker. He went Force Staff, now it looks like Glimmer Cape will be his second item. I guess it could possibly be a pipe, but either way, it's not negatives, so not going to be able to rely on that.
Yeah, and the only thing EP kind of getting done is getting the BKB duration shorter and shorter, but it's still going to be enough that you can. A 5-second BKB is still like an answer to a Disruptor, Static Storm, or a Glimpse. So you don't need a long duration to block a Glimpse or to get out of a Static Storm. But something that EP are just going to have to rely around fighting around. Something like the Darkseid needs to make sure he hits the vacuum wall on these heroes.
Yeah. Could we have a look at the net worth graph? Oh, you're a step ahead of me there, Wepis. 3,500 net worth lead here for CDEC, about 5,000 experience. They are starting to pull ahead by a good margin. That Hand of Midas and the Viper really starting to pay off. An Old Chicken, this is just an easy kill. A freebie for Aggressive. He uses the BKB, not too afraid to get it down to that 5-second charge, and I suppose worth it to get a pick on that prime target of the Lycanthrope.
Oh, yeah. So Time Walk TP out and won't be cancelled. The Shaker's showing up a bit too late.
Sort of a close call, but he will live.
And this is where EP can't even push while the Chrono's down because Lycan's dead. So that's where it is a reasonable target to go for that Chronosphere on, because by the time Lycan's back and pushing on a lane, your Chronos can be more or less back up. And Void's getting scary and scary. He's got the Maelstrom. We'll be looking towards that Mjolnir, I imagine. And
yeah.
Elsewhere, Viper picks up an SMY. So just going for just kind of stat items, just survivability on the Viper, which is kind of more his job.
Yeah, we'll see CDEC get aggressive around this Aegis, as now they'll go for some objective gaming. Tier 2 tower in the top lane will be ripe for the taking, and EP may just let it go down. They're slowly rotating to this part of the map, but seems somewhat satisfied to just continue farming for now, given that their Lycan is still in the grave. Only about a minute and a half left on the Aegis of the Immortal. I think this is the only objective CDEC will be able to claim with the comfort of the Aegis of the Immortal.
They may continue on with the comfort of a Chronosphere, which is coming up soon for Void. Okay, to 18 seconds.
It's just about there. Maybe they'll just rotate mid and put some pressure on this tower. Now the Blink Dagger comes out on Darkseer. Better late than never. 34 minutes in. I think pretty far behind the standard, but it will make a big difference.
A must-buy item. You can't just expect to be able to walk in and get off a good vacuum wall most of the time. And vacuum doesn't work on the BKB hero, so you want to be able to have the surprise factor of the Blink Dagger.
Yeah, most definitely. Viper went back for the Sanj and Yasha now with 2,600 gold. I mean, what does he look towards next? I mean, does like Heart of Tarask you think makes sense to really go like full beef mode, or do you think they need the Viper?
Viper?
I think he just needs more damage at this point.
Maybe even Ag Scepter? I think he definitely goes survivability. I'm just not sure if Heart to me is one of those survivability items which is just outclassed. Well, it's outclassed by other items. Like we see all the carries start going Skadi instead of Heart. I think maybe an Ag Scepter is more cost effective.
Yeah, the Ag Scepter is a good call actually.
Against the
Gives you
Lycan.
the best of both worlds. Gives you that short cooldown, extra damage, but also a lot of really juicy stats.
Just kind of spam it out on the Lycan, who's going to be working towards an AC this game.
Yeah. Mjolnir comes out on Aggressive, and CDEC It's kind of split pushing around right now, staying very aggressive in enemy territory. Void will rotate through the jungle and rendezvous with his team. They'll put the Viper in the front lines. I think he still has the Aegis in tow, though it's very close to expiration. So happy to tank the tower and then feel the benefits of that regen rune. That'll be coming in about 5 seconds here. So
Viper just goes from tower to tower, no problems.
Yeah,
the other item he could get is the AC, but I think AC, Heart, or Ags, all decent choices, all suit what Viper needs.
AC is a good point as well. They've got they have a good mix of physical and magical damage, but will help their sieging prowess that much more. Lycan feels very underfarmed to me, though. He was at the king of the tower for a while, but you look at the net worth chart now, and he's really starting to fall behind. His item progression just isn't there. He's got BOT's Necrobook level 3, and just hanging on to that chainmail.
Rocket Flare? I think they saw him.
Oh, do they? Oh, yeah, they definitely do. The old chicken gets jumped on. Tries to channel the ulti form, but Chronosphere is there, and he will not have a chance to do anything about it. It's a dead Lycan again. He'll be in the grave for 60 seconds. The difference this time is he does have a buyback at his disposal.
Yeah, so unfortunate. The Rocket Flare saw him, but he did not see the Rocket Flare, so he didn't even realize he'd been scattered out.
You think he was right on the edge and just thought that it didn't fog him, or he was still in fog over the tree line, so maybe a little bit unlucky there, just slightly misreading the positioning. Unfortunate for the Lycan, though. Every single death of him is adding up. I mean, we're just talking about the disparity on the net worth chart, and now it's that much more.
Lycan's not even the most farmed hero on EP's side. For all of the early game, the first 20 minutes, Lycan was #1 in the net worth by a pretty big margin over his own team, and even maybe like 1 to 2k gold ahead of the Void, but no longer the case at all. It's Viper just storming ahead of everyone, and
4,600 gold. You can just right-click an Aghanims at this point.
At this point, Viper can itemization. It doesn't even really matter so much. It's the fact that you're this far ahead. You could get a Scythe device on Viper. You could get a Shiva's card. You could get an AC. You could get, and you could go for damage with like a Manta style or an MKB. But
yeah, absolutely. Queen of Pain, though. Speaking of Hex, she'll pick one up.
So maybe a way of dealing with the Void, but having the counter initiation is just the clockwork.
It's a great way of dealing with Void if EP can be the aggressors and catch the Void before he BKBs, but even with just a 5-second BKB charge, that's pretty much all he needs to get a kill inside of the Chrono and avoid the Static Storm, Glimpse, or the Hex. I don't think it's a bad choice here, but I don't think it's enough to really start reclaiming momentum on its own. And Void wants either Scotty or Aghanims. I'm not sure which.
Probably the latter, so we can go for that like late game Axe Refresher type build. The Axe gives you the extra mana you kind of need to use the Refresher, but...
And Ags, it takes the cooldown to 60 seconds or 70 seconds?
60 seconds.
60, yeah. So that's a big jump now from 100 to 60.
As much as you've already got the shorter cooldown, it does lead into a Refresher, so you can have 2 Chronos in a row, because you can't use a... That was one of the big nerfs to Void, where you need the mana.
Yeah, you used to be able to go all carry items like Mjolnir, Daedalus, those type, and then still get the Refresher and have enough mana for both, and now that's really not possible. So
back when Void was a fun hero.
Hey, look at that. Every so often you get one right, Parker. Heart of Tarrasque comes out for Viper as his next big item.
All right, he is
a beefcake. 3,300 HP. Wow.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be a hard Viper to bring down. All across CDEC side, they're just getting luxury items up.
This is starting to get out of control. Aghanims on Ancient Apparition is I'm beyond words of how deadly it is in this kind of a game. When you have it on top of a Chronosphere, the damage, the debuff, it's unbelievably potent.
The duration going to be especially annoying for heroes like Earthshaker and Dark. So if they get hit by it, even if they're like full HP, it means their blinks are just disabled for a very long duration as well.
Here we go. Old Chicken once more stuck inside of the Chronosphere. Ice Blast will fly over.
Didn't BKB?
Yep. Oh, aggressive, a little too greedy with it. The Sonic Wave doesn't do a hell of a lot. He'll BKB afterwards, and this time Old Chicken will live. But it looks like Earthshaker will not be so lucky. Burns an Echo Slam on 2 heroes. Doesn't really achieve much there, and of course will end up in the grave after all.
Yeah, so Void just thought Lycan's alone there, which is kind of a silly assumption since Lycan's died to that Chrono a few times. He's going to have backup, but the Scythe of Vice reveal, and it saves Lycan, but doesn't get a kill, so not really enough for EP.
Yeah.
They're still just falling further and further behind, even though they did save Lycan that time around.
Yeah, that's another good point, that the Scythe hadn't been scouted before that. So now Void will know better next go around. I need to BKB straight away, assume that I may get hexed even inside of my own bubble. Hook shot in up top. They still want this chicken. Can they cook him? Ice Blast flying across, and oh, they've got plenty of damage. They don't even need the Chronosphere to bring him down at this stage.
That was nice. That was a good 4-staff call. It's not an easy thing to do surrounded by that many creeps. Yeah, without Chrono killing off Lycan, he's got no buyback. This is suddenly
And they
very
get
open map. But
Tier 2 tower out of it, the last outer tower remaining for Energy Pacemaker. And 10 to 23 at the 40-minute mark, starting to feel more likely that this series could indeed be a 2-0. What does EP need to do to turn this game around, Parker? This is do or die territory.
defend high ground really well. They can't really contest Roshan. They haven't got the team fight to contest Roshan into the Rocket Flare scouting, the Chronosphere, so it's all going to come down to their high ground defense. Use of the Darkseer on the high ground, all their big ultis, Echo Slam, Darkseer, Wall Vacuum, Disruptor, Static Storm, Sonic Wave. They've got 4 really big team fight ultis, and the only way they're going to get a good latch on with all 4 of those is when they're defending high ground at the choke point of their base ramp. So that's all they can really hope for. And if CDEC execute high ground defense well, it's probably going to be it may just be too big a mountain to climb right now.
Yeah, and what's the timer looking like on Roshan to be coming up? It may become a focal point of this game. Oh, very soon. A max respawn just about for Roshan. Clockwork scouts it out right as he respawns. Small stroke of luck for CDEC, but you know when it's close to that max timer that he's probably there soon. Another big item for CDEC as well. Aghanim Scepter on the Rattle Trap.
Okay. Boots of Travel picked up by Viper as well, so has that kind of ability to defend the split push at top and then TP join up the push down bottom.
Yeah, I think a great time to pick up that item for him so he can be a little more mobile.
Stolen Shapeshift.
Ooh, Q moving on in, and it looks like the Darkseer will be in some trouble. Chronosphere deployed to bring him down, and they do secure the kill. With Roshan around, having that 5v4 on the field does give them an edge. Hex comes out onto Shiki after he burns the Viper Strike onto Fan. We'll move into the Tier 3 tower. Shiki holding his ground for now, pops the BKB, doing as much damage as possible, just clearing out the Necro units. Old Chicken uses the ultimate. Hook shot is available as it has been upgraded here. Just on range. Clockwork.
Could go for it. Old Chicken doesn't have BKB. They may not have a... That's the thing. Like, I think he feels overly safe when Chrono's on cooldown, but the hookshot cogs alone can still lock him in place, step an Ice Blast, and kill him off, as we saw once already.
Yeah. He's going for the Assault Karas, but still pretty far away, and all the while aggressive, putting some damage into Roche. He'll jump to the high ground. The rest of his team will start to rotate down, and CDEC, they want this Roshan, but EP are constantly pressuring this top lane.
Yeah. EP can't contest Roshan, but they can pressure top. But once Chrono's back up, I think they'll probably reconsider pressuring this top lane. Lycan can't really be beating away in the Tier 3 tower when the Void can come in at any time.
It's a ranged wolf. He's throwing energy balls. One of those fun Rubik interactions there.
Now with Chilling Touch as well. He's a cutie.
Yeah, it's a good steal for the Rubik. Gives him that movement speed. If anything, just gives him the ability to chase down and be a little bit of a scouting tool for his team. Meanwhile, up top, Shiki on the low ground could get jumped here. The Hex from Queen of Pain to get it started. Thunderstrike to follow up. Echo Slam with a lot of creeps, but this Viper, he's just so damn tanky. He's at half health and still able to BKB. Just walks right through the kinetic field. Ice Blast will fly through it. Gets the kill on the Earthshaker as he tries to TP out. Disruptor as well, and now the Old Chicken. He's left by himself. He does have BOTs, but Viper hops into the tower. Old Chicken, he's going in deep. He wants this Tier 3. Where's he going, Parker? He's just running around in circles.
Yeah.
But Rubik's here. Telekinesis. The Old Chicken's about to get cooked again as the hook shot comes flying through. There's no escape, and he will be put down. A 3-0 as CDEC find themselves closer to victory.
Well, Void coming back. He took Roshan while all that's going on, and I think they'll be pretty ready to go push and end this game, or at least try and end this game fairly soon. Another Lycan death, and
I mean, Aegis, Cheese, they've got everything they need, and again, that net worth chart is just scary. 23K on the Viper, and you look at where that Lycan is, and he's in a sad place.
And I like the pickup from Void, gets Boots of Travel so he can deal with the split push as well. Just throwing as much as possible to make the Lycan's life just a living hell.
Mm-hmm.
And down the mid lane, CDEC go. They've got Void pushing out top, but he'll be ready to TP in as needed, and Queen of Pain can throw Sonic Waves, but Queen of Pain may end up actually dying here.
Alright, uses an ultimate for the creep wave, and that's a freebie here for the Faceless Void. Uses the BKB just for good measure and brings her down before the Ice Blast even connects. Now, both her and Lycan do have buybacks available. Lycan respawning rather soon, but Quap, I think, she'll be forced into buying back here if CDEC do press the issue.
Yeah. And just may as well use a BKB there. You don't know if you're going to get glimpsed, fissured. And the big thing is the BKB cooldown will time with the Chronosphere cooldown. So when Chrono comes back up, it's as your BKB comes up. They're both around that 55, 60-second cooldown. So
yeah. That's a great point.
It means Void, when he has his uptime, he's got everything he needs, and then he has a bit of downtime where he can farm and push out lanes, but he can still fight even without the BKB, without the Chronosphere at this point. He's got an Aegis, he's ridiculously farmed.
Yeah.
And right now it's just the Viper solo pushing this mid lane.
And his tier 3 tower is fallen pretty quickly here. They've got it well below half health without really too much effort. They didn't have to expend any cooldowns or any of their other consumables like that. And BKB Chrono available for the Void. So here we go. CDEC ready to rock and roll. Quap not forced to buy back, but now she's stuck in this kind of awkward situation of can't defend the tower and certainly doesn't want to buy back. Well, she's in the single digits of time to respawn, so there will be an exposed lane of barracks here in the mid. Glyph comes out. That'll keep the tower alive just a little bit longer. I love the way CDEC are positioned here, though, just trying to bait with the Viper. Old Chicken up top, jumped on by aggressive, BKB used, and easy shatter onto the Wolf. He will have a buyback, uses it right away. Viper still laying into the barracks mid. BKB, vacuum.
Oh, dear.
That was lackluster from the Dark
They can get at least a range tracks while the vacuum's on cooldown, I imagine. Void will sit back, he doesn't have BKB Chrono, but Viper on the front lines cannot be dealt with. 15 seconds on vacuum. Kind of have to treat this spell like a semi-ultimate in some ways.
Okay, Echo Slam, it just tickles Shiki. He takes almost no damage. Now the Static Storm, Sonic Wave, and he's still at half health. EP going in deep to defend this barracks, but they're just taking too much damage. Everyone on CDEC still very healthy except the Viper, but he's still alive. He tanked everything. A dieback for a Lycan, and that's it. Energy Pacemaker will GG, and it's CDEC that moves on to the grand finals to face eHome once again, and have now secured themselves a ticket to Seattle for the International 5.
Well, we know our two Chinese teams who will be flying out from the qualifiers. We don't know which one's playing and which one's in the wild card, but...
Not yet, at least.
Yes, not yet.
We'll find out soon.
We'll know by the end of today, at least. But CDEC,